Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen and ladies, welcome. You already know to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. It's your boy LS3. Before we get into it, you already know, let that beat drop. Yes. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. If you're in the shape at least your brain should be. Welcome to Medicine Ball, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. But what does that mean? Exercising your mind means actively thinking about and dealing with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're not someone who looks for alternatives as opposed to reacting in ways that require little to no effort, because let's be honest, that's easier, this will first require that you start practicing the idea of looking at things with the unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, most aren't used to this way of thinking, but like anything you want to get better at, it requires effort, practice, dedication, and hard work. Exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to live life with more empathy, understanding, peace, while equipping yourself with more options and effective tools to help you deal with this thing called life. Less work. Now, before I get too far, I'm not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that required me to look at myself, and that included my mental health. So whether you're diagnosed or not, or one of the millions of people undiagnosed, or maybe you could just use some tips, tricks, hacks, motivation to deal with this thing called life, this is your family. Being diagnosed but wanted to make some heavy drastic changes in my life, I adopted a wide range of ideas and ways to look at things, man, to help me deal with adversity, which is going to come. And that's my question to you. What are you going to do when that storm is on your door? When you have that problem, that issue, that whirlwind, and you're hiding in the house, what are you going to do when that adversity comes? This week's episode, the Big Bad Wolf. Let's get into it. So as I continue to build relationship, speak with many people, all different forms of life, all different type of relationships, all different types of points of views, and I continue to build my talent for speaking to people and, you know, in some ways, like honestly being able to heal people. Like people talk to me about things that they may never talk to anybody about in a short amount of time, but it's kind of like, I know my gifts. We talked about that in previous podcasts, but it's one thing that I realize and that I definitely have to get better at if I want to be someone who kind of like coaches or like for advice is the way and what I had to go through in order to change where I was on top of being diagnosed and at the time not being able to see a therapist and stopping my meds. And I wanted to do it in a healthy way. Like, I don't know, I talk about it. You have to know yourself through repetition, pattern, and building the right type of patterns and moves and repetition on things and research. Like, I have been able to learn how to correct myself and move on situations and get over situations very, very quickly. And then, like, when I say quickly, I'm like not immediately, but like if it's a situation that's not looking good or a situation that's bad, I'm able to accept it and move on to like what's the next thing way faster than people. If I see like an issue in my life might be, I don't know, I have a problem with my parents that I have to get right so I can move on and grow and deal with other things. It's like in that type of situation, I'm able to immediately lock in on empathy and get to a place where I completely release it, or I'm able to deal with it quick as it needs to be dealt with. And it's just like, when I was diagnosed and I was really doing some destructive things, like I've always had these moments in my life where like I've been up and I've been down. Like I've had a studio I own downtown at the Metropolitan Lofts, and then like I got this little studio on the east side. Now I have nothing. And it's like it goes up and down. Like even with jobs, I have a great Fortune 500 job. Now I'm like doing some BS. And in my life financially, I've been up and I've been down, and I've been up and I've been down. And when I started to make my move, I realized like I was on a time frame in my mind to get some things together at a certain age, because we all have big dreams when we're young. We're like, yo, by the time we're 35, we're gonna be a millionaire and own the company. You lied if you ain't say that. You know what I mean? So you lied if you said you didn't say that. We all did as kids. So I was ready to make some moves, and I realized when I deal with people and I may be able to understand something quickly, like say I'm looking at a situation, I'm like, oh, okay, so the problem really is that you have an issue with this person, but you have to look within yourself, and the person just doesn't get it. And I find I run into that a lot, and it's just like, man, I have to get better at like kind of bringing people along if I want to do this ultimately, which I am going to continue to build on into speaking and things of that nature, and understand that everybody comes along at their own speed. Now you can speed them up a little bit, but just like you have to have something to base it on to get you there. So as I was thinking about this and just thinking about the things that I do, where I'm at, especially with religious, how I feel about religion and my relationship with God and all of that, my mind just thinks in a way where I came across a story that we all know about, but maybe didn't quite understand it. And the story goes, there were once 3 brothers. And these 3 brothers each built a house. One house was made out of straw, one wood, one brick. We know what time it is, and if you haven't, man, I'm not gonna say I feel bad for your childhood, but like, the 3 pigs with the houses falling down, right? And again, I'm open up to different points of views and able to look at things a little bit quicker, but what that really was about was a foundation. See, the big bad wolf is that adversity that's going to come looking for you, or that thing that you don't like, or a situation that isn't just perfect for you, or you're not playing at the home court, you're away at an away game. You're going to have that big bad wolf who's going to come and he's going to test your foundation. And you can either take from the story what it is, which is, number one, learn from those who you care about, and also aid them. But when you aid those people, make sure you're in a good place. That's the other part. So like the first brother ran to the one with the wood, and the one, well, I got you, bro. You know what I mean? Instead of just all 3 of them just going straight to the brick house, because after the first wind came, like, solid makes sense. But you got to make sure that your foundation is right before you call yourself bringing somebody into what you got going on, which is what happened with the second pig. Their intentions was good, but I say this all the time. Intentions without execution is a busted play. Phil Jackson could draw the triangle all day, but if he's dealing with some dudes who's like under 6 foot, I don't care how good your intentions are to run that play. You better execute it, or you're going to get blocked, or probably go to the foul line, and you ain't a pro. You're going to miss the free throws too. But you got to have a foundation. So they didn't execute, so you had to go to the brick house. And the wind still came. The wolf still tried. It still pressed it. The pigs were still scared. But because he had made a proper foundation, it withstood that particular attack. And that's what I want to go into. And I think that's one of the things that allows me to move and look at things in a certain way. You have to have a solid foundation of who you are. Who you are. What are your principles? Just like I say in my intro, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person who I wanted to be versus the person who I was at that time. And I had to build my foundation up. Even now, I'm in an okay place. Like, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I'm not even going to get into it, but I got some crazy stuff going on. But it's just like, it don't hit me the same because I have a good foundation. Now, it's got to be addressed. I had a lot of time and I had to pray on it because, like, I'm not like super religious, especially during this pandemic. Like, I have a different church I'm about to go through and everything, but like, you have to believe in, this is all I'm going to say about the religion. And then I'm going to give you this foundation verse, which relates to it. Like, you got to believe in something. So if you're not a person who's religious or whatever, like, what do you believe in first? And if you believe in only yourself and think that you have all the knowledge that it's going to take to carry you and the principles that's going to carry you, you're going to fall on your face many times. So even if you don't want to believe in a religion or something, let's look at it logically. Do you want to believe in something good or bad first that's outside of you? And in order to do that, you're going to have to obtain that knowledge from somebody or something that knows more than you and has been around longer than you. I chose, my beliefs with the God and Jesus and whatnot because that's what I have a relation with. So I don't want to put it on anyone, but the things that I realized was getting me up and down was just like, number one, I didn't have a good foundation and a belief in something. Like, I believed in Jesus and God, but it's just like, you got to have something to mold and pattern yourself after, which was Jesus. And I'm not pressing it on anybody. I'm telling y'all how I got to where I'm at and how I deal with situations or try to deal with situations. So if you just want to be logical, like, first of all, you got to have something that you believe in. Is it good or bad? And then once you decide where it's good or bad, who knows and who has shown the most good? Like, this is just logic. Who has over time been in these stories, whatever you want to call it, your belief in, who has shown good? Well, even if you don't believe in this story, at least it's a story about somebody doing some good things. So I found that to pattern myself after, and I found out that when I was up and down financially and all of that, like, I wasn't right there. And I'm not right now, but I have certain patterns. The same thing I tell y'all about that I do. I make sure I pray a certain amount of time each day. I make sure that I have a routine. Like, I get up, I might do a passage for the day. I have a little Bible app that I use, but I had to find something to pattern myself after and believe in that and understand that just because you're following yourself after something good, bad things are definitely going to happen, right? So because I understood that, due to the way that I was able to willing to accept anything, to get myself to a better place, but especially God and Jesus, like, I can't speak on that, but that was something I can pattern myself after. So my foundation starts from there. And even early on, I call it the 2 years, the terrible two, which is really the great two, where about 2 years ago when I started making a drastic change, like, I had immediately jumped straight into the Bible and reading verses and whatnot. But I'm a type of person who thinks in a certain way. So it was like, I knew that once you obtain knowledge of something, like, you can't say you don't know. So as I'm reading the Bible, and it might say, like, don't have sex before you're married. And I'm not going to get into what exactly it says or whatever. The point is being like, now the thing you're trying to pattern after. It's just like your job. We don't even have to use the Bible at your job. If your boss writes you up and you sign off on that, then now we know for sure that, hey, you're accountable because you know about it. You can't say you don't know or you were ignorant to it. All right. So that was the first thing, and that's the thing. So that foundation on that alone, patterning myself after something and then working on that each day, whether it's looking at every situation, like I said, and like, yo, how can I do this in a way that'll be acceptable by God? You know what I mean? That foundation got me there. So I just want to read this quick passage. I don't want to give y'all too much of that right now, but I mean, that's what it is. When people are like, so why are you like this? Why do you do this like that? Like, I have a reason. And at first I didn't know, or at first it was me. I just want to be this person. No, you got to model yourself. You pattern yourself after something. So look, everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell on the floods came and the winds blew and beat on the house, but it did not fall because it had been founded on the rock. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24-25. And it's crazy because, like, to me, that's darn near like somebody was like, yo, let's try to give them this scripture in a way. So there was 3 pigs. It's saying the same thing. All right. So I didn't want to give y'all too much on the church background and all of that, but I wanted to let y'all know that's the first thing. You got to have a solid foundation and something that you base it off of. And then you got to know your way for judging those values. Right. So I think it's unreasonable for people to be like, well, if I believe in God and something bad happens, it's not believable. But we right now believe in a virus that honestly we can't see. We're not walking around with no telescope eyes. And we shook, but we can't see the God. Come on, y'all. We got to get together. But yeah, have your foundation. So that was the first part, man. The big bad wolf, because it's going to happen. It don't matter what you believe in. Life don't care. The world and the way things go, it doesn't really care. You're going to have something. Even if you're an evil person or whatnot, you're going to come across something that's going to hit you. And if you're not built on a proper foundation, your house will crumble, all right? Yo, stay tuned. That was Seg 1, the big bad wolf. We're going to tell you how to deal with the big bad wolf, how to kind of see the big bad wolf, and what to understand about the big bad wolf. When we come back, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. And as always, check my webpage, medicineballls3.com. I'm on all the platforms. You already know, Medicine Ball LS3. Check this beat. We're going to be right back with you. Yeah. to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. If you're in the shape at least your brain should be. Welcome back to the Medicine Ball podcast, where we focusing on giving your brain a six-pack. Exercise your brain, six-pack. Exercise your brain, hey. Yo, I gotta be transparent with y'all. Like, I'm kind of amped up and whatnot, but I'm coming back. This podcast is gonna be late, and I'm gonna be transparent with y'all and let y'all know why. So, like, what I try to explain to people when it comes to me is, like, when I'm talking to people or if I'm telling them about something or whatnot, I'm talking to myself. And I face adversities and stuff just like everybody else, like crazy stuff that I can get more and more into. Y'all let me know, but it's just like I go through it, and sometimes I catch myself being frustrated, and I just gotta like pull myself back to the stuff that I'm teaching so it holds you accountable. But that again is just me exercising my mind and practicing. So let me let y'all know what happened real quick. So at the beginning of this podcast and my intro, and I've been working on my intro, saying it faster, smoother, and sounding, more like just for voice opportunities and things of that nature. So I chose to redo this one this week, and I was happy with a majority of my podcast. And I go back and in certain spots and whatnot, I listen to it, and somehow I ended up listening to that part, and that's at the beginning of the podcast, you guys. Instead of saying, it says Medicine Ball is dedicated to the idea of exercising your mind. But what does that mean? And like, I didn't plan it, but it kind of dropped right at the beat at the right time. But long story short, when I went back and listened to it just now, it was like dedicated to the idea of exercising your mind. But what does that mean? And then it went, exercising your mind is dedicated. So like, that really bothered me. So anybody who knows anything about like recording and things like that, like, of course, you guys know I produce beats, engineered. I've used many systems, and like, I always tell the story about how I started off using Reason, and I didn't have to sound old. I didn't have YouTube and all of that. Long story short, once you get the braces down on some of these recording programs, such as tracks, effects, tools, and then when you get into the effects or the things of that nature, like compression, noise reduction, echo, choir, chorus, you see what I'm saying? Once you get the basics down, you can pretty much move around. If you have it just rolls off. If you got a solid foundation, you can move from Mac to PC. Like, I know how to play with everything, even GarageBand. When I made some bangers in there. But long story short, so I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna treat this like Pro Tools or something. I went in there and just tried to clip it and punch in, which means come in right at that spot and record on that same track. And it just went FruBar, you guys. And like, in the process of that, I started getting frustrated. And this podcast is going to be late, but it relates, so it's okay. But it's like I started to get frustrated, and I was like, yo, you got a better foundation. Why are you going to get frustrated when you're talking about a podcast about foundation, et cetera, et cetera? And anybody who knows about music, I'm not going to get too much into it, but basically, I played around with this particular program, which is just a generic free program, but it's really dope if you know what you're doing, and was able to, in the process of messing up, like, turn our tracks into a stereo track, which I know y'all aren't going to know what that means. Some of you guys might, but it's more ability to mess with the sounds, the pitch, and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's almost like a real session if you in here, and these tracks y'all he'll cut in and out. It's just like Pro Tools. So it's like I'm messing up, and oh my gosh, I done shrunk the track, and oh my gosh, I clipped off the end of this one, and one track is just like an audio track, and one track is just like a mono track. And long story short, I finally got it back, and in the process of me getting it to where it needed to be and getting to this point and having it be organized, I picked up some dope skills in this program along the way. Like, I don't even know if y'all can tell, like, my transitions, they come in and fade out at a much, like, smoother way. So long story short, I'm being transparent with y'all, man. Listen, man, I had tracks everywhere. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go type in a Pro Tool track list or something. And when you see it, like, you've definitely seen it on Instagram or Facebook, and these rappers and stuff, they have it in the background on the computer. Man, my tracks was all over the board. But then I went straight from that and also, and again, this comes from repetition, foundation, and patterns. Like, okay, let me learn something from this situation. That's what it started to be. What can I learn? And it was like, Medicine Ball, we talking about this. I'm frustrated. I like to keep sports involved. The only place I really hear about people talking about a brick is basketball. And then so a brick, if you guys don't know, is like a horrible shot. Like, not even bounce off to just boom, just loud, looking all ugly. Like, you looks like you don't know how to play. And I just thought about, like, yo, I just hear people when they talk trash, like, Man, you shoot so many bricks, you can build a house. Shoot so many bricks, you can build a house. Now, this is off the head, you guys. How can I flip that into my podcast about foundation and what I just went through? Well, yeah, if you shoot enough bricks that you can build a house, that's a lot of shots, right? So I'm just thinking, if you shoot enough bricks to build a house, that means you're shooting a lot in the gym. Eventually, you're going to get better. And that house that you built from this jump shot from shooting those bricks is actually a better shooting form. So just think about that in two different ways, because through your failures, you can always use that. And I talked about this in a previous podcast. I'll be trying to get all those shortcuts. Like if you hit rock bottom, man, at least use the bottom to spring off of that joint. Like you jumped in the pool and you hit the bottom, got to get up. You should do it the same way. Even when I just flubbed up and messed up something, I just learned more stuff and it really made me better at using the program. If you're shooting basketball, yeah, you shooting so many bricks, you making a house, right? A house in the NBA because now you know how to shoot. And I'm stretching it with the NBA thing. But my point is you can use your failures and opportunities as things to help build your foundation. And again, guys, the thing that I always try to preach to people, like, you know why I'm able to adjust my attitude and stuff so quick is because I use every single opportunity, literally, that I can to exercise, to think about doing something I've never thought about doing before. And so far, it has not led me wrong. All right, so I just want to throw that out there and be real transparent with you guys about that, man. So foundation, man, that was just a little tidbit, but on the back end of that, I wanted to go touch back on the Three Pigs story and their foundation and let you know what's going to come with building up your foundation other than the adversities of being Big Bad Wolf. And again, in the third seg, I'm going to show you how to use this foundation to get up off when you're going to get knocked down. But just the pigs in the story shows the transition of how your foundation works, even in life. That very first hut you built, you're not a master builder. You don't know everything about life right off the bat, especially if you're dependent on yourself. It's going to get knocked down. Now, that second pig is a two-part because that's a situation of someone who may have a stronger foundation than the person with the straw house, but not enough to keep them held up. You know, you see what I mean? So you have to also be careful, and I'm going to attach that onto the end with this foundation thing, because what you'll find is as you become a more virtuous person, understanding person, or a person able to look at things from so many different abstract ideas and views, that you will be able to understand people and situations in a way that's going to blow your mind, is like people will be drawn to you. And so you have to be careful and know that once you start living your life a certain way, like it gets to a point where it's like, man, I may want to go have a drink, but heck, I know these little kids are like waiting on me to do this, or this person who might be my same age is looking at me in a high point of view, or even if this person who's treating me in an abusive way, maybe they think I'm mentally capable of taking that. But when you build yourself up a virtuous way, you got to make sure that your foundation is right, honest, and pure, else your house will get knocked over. And that's when the third pig comes in. And that's when your foundation is strong enough to tell other people how to build that same type of house and also be something that they can pattern themselves after. Now, as I said in religion, I pattern myself after God, but you're not supposed to like glorify another human being. But if that person is telling you and showing you that they're doing something after that way, then it's okay to pattern that person. Maybe if you don't understand religion, maybe you don't agree with religion, but you can agree with the things that I'm saying and I'm doing, or some other situation. So you have to be careful, because that's the first part of the adversity that you're going to get. Once your foundation is fully full and you're at a place where things can happen to you, you can get over them quick, think through them, and be logical about it, you're going to get more push than ever. The first push is the dependability of others who may lean on you, not even as something to pattern themselves after, but just like a strong person to talk to or to expect to understand or something of that nature. Like I say it all the time. And again, as I continue to grow, understand, study, and like really try to figure out how people are and emotions and whatnot. Like I used to always say, and I still say it, I just be like, man, people just don't understand that I'm still diagnosed. I get depressed. My mind and thoughts still race. I have my bad days. Like I could tell somebody I'm depressed, and I used to and I'm still growing with it. I'll be like, yo, you just don't get it. Like, as tired as I am, you have such a high regard for me that you think that mentally I could take this conversation right now. Or I could take this kind of rudeness that you're being to me. But in a way, that's them leaning on your foundation. They're testing your principles. And it's going to happen every day because it's going to be so easy to react in a way. But if you're the person who wants to be virtuous, a stand-up person who deals with things more amicably, or just have more peace of mind and more love and empathy and curiosity in life, once you start to learn more and it's just about the Bible, like, more stuff catches your eye. So it's like, it sucks. But if I know I can go into a situation and look at a person and be like, that's a selfish person. Now, first thing first, if I'm ever to say that with somebody I feel close with, I'm hoping that they know. And if not, and you listening, like, I'm selfish too. I sin, I curse, I still party. I do a lot of bad stuff as well. But I would never say somebody else is selfish or, yo, that's self-centered, and not be able to call out my own moments just as easy, just as quickly. Like, I just got frustrated. And honestly, I'm probably selfish and self-centered because I told everybody it'd be out by 10. And regardless of my stumble, people are dependent on me. So that could be conceived as self, but that's another level. But it's like, your foundation will be tested. But once you have something solid that you believe in, that has good principle, values, morals, even if you want to be a pattern guy, like, I use my foundation and basis on patterns and repetition, whether it be studying the Bible or promoting the podcast or practicing Spanish or going plant-based. I use the same techniques that I know work for me to get me to where I want. So religion, like, okay, maybe I was running away from it. And that's what I meant to say in the previous part. Like, I was actually running away from committing to religion as much because I felt bad. The more I knew, the more accountable I was. But it's just like, I use the same thing. Like, and I speak to God, but I had to be like, man, you make time on your schedule to do this, this, and this. If nothing else, schedule some time from God. And it goes from that to, like, when I'm stressed out and whatnot. And again, this is me. This is what I lean on. And then we're talking about having a foundation, adversities, and being able to adjust quickly. I know that I wanted to pattern myself to, even if I want to go have a drink after something, right? Or something else, I'm at least trying to pattern myself to pray first. So at least I can try. It's just, and what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is just, even in that way of thinking, like, don't look at the religion aspect. Just think of me open to the idea of, normally I'm stressed out, I might want to drink or something. Let me do this instead. Even if it doesn't work, I might be like, it didn't work, and still go take my drink or whatnot. But those type of patterns and habits develop you into being a person to, when your foundation is tested, you can have something to fall back on, something to believe in. But the first step is to, you got to shoot bricks. You got to move from that straw house to the wood house before you get to the brick house. And I'm not in a brick house, but I just know that my house is a lot more sturdier than, and it's not from a judgmental way, but it's just like, I feel some kind of way when I see people panic or trip out over certain things, and I feel like I can give them the answer that's going to help get them to a better place, but they just don't get it. And again, they might not be bipolar. They might have not had some violent situations that wanted to, question who you are. They may have not been at rock bottom and then, like, didn't have anything else to lean on. And that's what we're going to get into this third and final seg. So in this seg, I stopped what I was going to go into. I kind of went into it some on the end about the foundation and some of the first adversities that's going to come. But, like, I talked to you guys about shooting the bricks, and even how something I'm experiencing while recording this podcast, like, I use those opportunities, and hopefully you guys are starting to see, like, it really becomes a beautiful thing when you're like, yo, I am upset right now, or I am mad, or this person justifiably needs to be chumped out right now. But you know what? I'm going to do something I wouldn't do. And if you're a person who already is chill, guess what? Instead of taking those 99 slaps in the face, try for 100 today. It may not work. You might get to that 100 one and flip out. It's okay. But your foundation isn't going to crumble. You're not going to give up, all right? Yo, check this beat. We're going to get back with the last said. Big Bad Wolf. We talked about foundations. I talked about my religion. I gave you guys a couple of examples. Now I'm going to show you how that foundation that keeps you solid and everything, how that actually becomes what you're going to need to be able to lean on when the adversity and the big bad wolf happens, all right? Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. You already know, check this beat. We'll get back to the final seg. This week's episode, Big Bad Wolf. Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast, the Big Bad Wolf. Hey, you already know. Welcome back, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. If you're in the shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome back to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack. All of that. The Big Bad Wolf. Adversity. We've been talking about foundation. LS3, how you gonna make this make sense to me, man? So listen, we as a society, and I'm speaking more so about American society, we always are like into and say things like, it's not about how you fall down, it's about how you get up. It's all about retribution, it's all about the comeback. Why is your foundation important? The thing that I realized when I was having my ups and downs and again, my foundation not perfect at all, but like I didn't have one at all when I was going through my ups and downs, and I falsely thought I did. And the thing that I realized is failure to invest in a proper foundation that's built up the right way. And this is what I picked up from it, and being the kind of guy I am, is it's a time waster for me. I couldn't keep having foundations that was crummy because it was taking me too long to get to a place where I was just okay. So like when you're up and you're down, like people in life, with me being diagnosis, my like ups will be up, but my down, like it shouldn't take me 2 years to get back to a place where I'm all right and my foundation still ain't right. That was just off of like pure determination and hard-headedness in a lot of ways. Your foundation is important because it really, what it says about is who you are. It is the DNA and genetic code to how you deal with situations, peoples, environment, circumstances, and things of that nature. And why it's so important that it's built up on things, and this is what I believe, and this is what I'm going to tell you. Certain things got to be in there. Honor, principle, loyalty, discipline. You have to have a sense of pride, but the right pride. You have to have pride in the sense to where, hey, I want to do right because someone else might be looking up to me. You never know who's looking. And I want them to ask me, or I want them to follow the steps I have. Now, without even touching the religion thing, if you have your foundation built on those things, what will naturally happen is you will start to logically understand that the thing about the big bad wolf is the big bad wolf is necessary. The big bad wolf is necessary because your foundation is almost like a mold or something to that nature. And as it's being blown on by life's adversities and whatnot, it may cause it to shake and tremble and whatnot, but it's also drying the cast. The wind and the blowing of the air is molding it to make it stronger and stronger with lessons. And the first thing that you are going to initially understand is that something I don't like sooner or later is going to happen. Like when I talk to people and they be like, yo, I got you. Like I tell some people and some people I don't, like, I don't hold you to that. And it's not to say that I don't trust in your ability and what you're doing and how you are to handle situations. It's that I know we're human. And it's like sooner or later it's going to be that time. And like Andre 3000 said it, forever. It doesn't seem that long until you into it, and you're going to have a bad day or a rough situation where it will be tested. And if you're built on those principles, you know it will be coming, and you will lock onto that foundation, which is ultimately is going to be the place where you land. It's going to be the thing that you fall back on when all else fails. When ish hit the fan. If it's built on honor and a code of righteousness and excellence and a sense of a proper pride and humbleness, if it's built on all of that other stuff, What you don't realize is the things that you use to build that foundation shape who you are as a person. And when things happen to you, when I say you're going to need to fall down your foundation, I'm saying you're going to need to fall onto those principles, those ideas, the idea of being able to be open-minded, unbiased, to look at things from all point of views, to realize that you could be wrong. Those things, along with, in my situation, religion and the building of the foundation, is the things that I fall back on when I sit at home at night, and in some situations I cry at the overload of things. I cry. But then I push up off of that foundation and realize it's still here. I don't have to relocate. I don't have to go buy another house. I can start from the foundation because it's solid, it's sturdy. And when that happens slowly, you will learn that because you know some adversity is coming, that the beauty is really loving and appreciating everything that you have now. Because let's say for instance, right now today, you have a job that sucks. It gets on your nerves, and it's something you complain about every day. But if you built on like honor, understanding, empathy, love, awareness, proper pride, unselfishness, and things of that type of nature, you would stop and realize that right now as I speak, I don't know what the numbers are, but I know it's over 20 million people are unemployed right now. And I know people personally with my knowledge of politics but just how things are operating who haven't seen any unemployment money. This is the worst thing since the Great Depression. I think that I wasn't even alive for that. So when I start to get frustrated about my job maybe, or the podcast or making up, and it's a beautiful thing. And I know it sounds corny, but I'm just like, bro, you have a podcast that somebody is going to tune into and listen to. Like, don't sell them short. You start to look at the little things in life and be thankful for them. Like, yo, I'm complaining about my job, but I'm luckier than at the bare minimum we know 25 million documented people. When you're upset because you couldn't get that thing you wanted at the grocery store, think about when you're thirsty right now or you're hungry. Like, can you like literally walk there? You don't have to be in a mansion. Can you walk somewhere right now in your house or go to where you need to and be able to get anything to nourish your body or quench your thirst? When you go take that shower tonight, when you turn that joint to the middle of the red and the blue, you expect that joint to jump right on in there. And it's still, even with all your complaining about the things that are really trivial, I guarantee you don't stop and be, if that shower, you hop in that shower and it's on hot and it's not hot, now you're going to look at things from another point of view. So let your foundation come from a humble beginning, and it's going to be humble because of what it's going to take to get you there. You will fail. You will fall. People will lean on you. You will be tried. You will be tested. Bad things will happen. You can get up and say a prayer every single day. You could tithe the church. You can bless people. You could try to walk, and something is going to happen to you. But if you're aware of it when you're up, because you got a solid foundation and you're up and everything is going okay, if you're grounded enough to your foundation bars, if you grounded enough to your foundation, you're going to know, like I constantly, no matter how good things get. And again, I pray to God to let me to enjoy the blessings, but I never get too comfortable on something that I trust on my own, that's not molded after this good pattern and foundation, because I know it can be taken away. And when it's taken away and things suck, I'm only going to be able to depend on my foundation and the things that I believe and know to be true to get me through it. And if you built it properly, it's going to run properly. So I challenge y'all this week, man, something easy. And I mean, with this COVID going on and everything, like, I'm blessed enough to have a job to where every interaction is a chance for me to like really help someone. And like at the end, if they say like, yo, I really appreciate you, I don't get high off of, yo, I did something good. I get the high off of like really making them happy. Like, you don't know what they went through that day. So I'm in a situation where, and it might not even be that situation, but I take it for that. I look at even every opportunity to work my brain out. So this week I challenge y'all, with COVID going on, you don't have to overdo it. Just do anything that you normally wouldn't do, whether it be chill this week, if you want to relate to the COVID, or whether it be don't eat meat every day. You have to start practicing in abstract ways. Look at any way. You can win it any way. If you're a person who likes to party, don't go to the hip hop club. You really shouldn't be going nowhere, but don't go to the hip hop club. Purposely go to the pop club. You know, uh, ladies, if you're somebody who men normally take you out, like purposely like take your guy out. And I know y'all gonna say we do that anyway, but the point is do something that you normally wouldn't do. If you're somebody who's normally right on time for work or occasionally late, try one day to be like 30 minutes early. Just try it. Try it. And if it don't work out, cool. But at least you're trying and you're open to doing other things. So just one thing. It could be right now. Just look for those opportunities. If you see somebody, if you driving and you listen to this and you see somebody trying to merge over, cutting you off, and you would normally get mad and flick your lights, press the brake, let them go on, don't flick your lights, and keep it moving. Now, that might not be a big victory, but the bigger idea is being open to trying things that require you to think about them before you do them, all right? I love y'all. I ain't going to hold y'all too much longer. I'm on all platforms. Y'all, I'm working on my website. I got the new launch coming. I told y'all what's going on with the domain, but please check medicineballls3.com. You could go search on all platforms. Like, I have really been busting my tail to like promote and make sure my pages line up with what I'm saying. So medicineballls3, all one word, on Instagram and Twitter. Email me if you want to talk to me about something. medicineballls3@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, share, follow. I've been trying to make it to where all my links to anything that you're into, like I'm still working on Snapchat and a couple of things, but anything that you're into, I try to have some type of link or something from one page or source that you can get to the next one, whether it be clicking on my podcast and there's a link to my website, which then in turn has a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just try to make it happen, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The big bad wolf, but you all right now. Because, your house may have gotten blown down, or you might have been that person who thought you had it together and mess somebody else up, but it's nothing like picking up those bricks and building a beautiful jump shot, another opportunity. Until next week, Medicine Ball with your boy LS3. You are not alone. Keep your head up. You got this. I love y'all. I'm out. Yeah.